Please tell me if I'm making the right decision or not. I, 28F, packed up some of my stuff and moved back to my parents' house impulsively after a huge argument with my 29M fiancé. Does this relationship sound salvageable? We've been together for 3 years, living together for 2.5. We had gotten into a huge argument that blew up. He was stressing out about the housing crisis, telling me that we need to buy a house ASAP because he predicts interest rates will keep rising. I told him I agreed. However, I would like to be married before buying a house with someone. He said we can't afford a wedding plus a house right now, and asked me to pick one or the other, a wedding or a house. It was pretty obvious which choice he wanted. I made a compromise with him that I at least wanted to be married on paper before we bought a house together, and he ended up agreeing with this. He also said that after the house, when we are more financially stable, we can have a wedding then, which I was fine with. The next day, I had a change of heart and asked him if it would be willing to go on a celebratory trip together after signing our marriage papers as a way to celebrate our marriage without a wedding. I don't know why, but this set him off and he started ranting about how weddings are a waste of money, that it's just pissing money away, and how stupid weddings are. I had to ask him multiple times to please stop ranting, that I got his point. The next day, we got into it again, but this time it fully blew up. I asked him again if he was willing to go on a less expensive trip with me, again to celebrate our marriage after signing papers. Note that he would only be covering his portion, I would pay for myself. I suggested a short road trip, a small town near where we live. Again, this triggered him and he got very angry to the point where we started raising our voices at each other. Each time I felt like he didn't want to spend any money to celebrate our marriage with me, I tried to compromise with him and lowered the stakes. It ended with me saying something along the lines of I just want to do something beyond just signing a few papers. We could go out for a nice dinner, or even if you bought me flowers, I'd be happy with that. Again, I don't know why, but this made him very angry and he said things like, as if I never take you out for dinners and buy you flowers. At this point, I was so frustrated that I said, I'm asking you for crumbs and you can't give that to me. I just want the gesture that you care about celebrating our marriage. This blew up in my face because after I said that, we started yelling at each other, and he said things like I'm making the financially smart decision to buy a house and secure a decent future for our children one day, and you don't trust my decisions. To which I replied, what family? You don't have any kids yet. We should focus on making our relationship work right now. He ended it by saying duck off and then screaming get out of my face 3 times because I was so stunned that I didn't move the first time he said it. I want to add that I try very hard to never yell insults, curse, or negatively label him when we argue. I believe the purpose of an argument is to try to understand each other's POV. The worst thing I'll do is raise my voice. After he screamed in my face, I left the house and went to my girlfriend's. Then I saw a text from him telling me that I may as well pawn the engagement ring because he won't tolerate this level of disrespect of me leaving the house without a word of where I'm going. But he didn't ask. This is not the first time something like this has happened. A few months ago, I expressed to him that I was upset he had nothing planned for my birthday, and again, he blew up in my face and called me an effing psycho and said verbatim, I'm not going to change, if you don't like it, then fuck OFF. I ended up leaving the house again that night and sleeping over at my friend's house. We ended up making up and he apologized profusely and did end up planning something for my birthday. We just talked this morning and he's extremely hurt that I moved my stuff out and slept at my parents' house last night. We're not officially broken up yet, but I have a feeling that's where this is headed, because of me. And he said he's not willing to do therapy because he thinks it's a waste of time. Did I do the right thing? Was this relationship salvageable? I'd appreciate hearing any stories that are similar to mine.